Hello and welcome to In the Art Scene podcast, a place where creatives share their stories. My name is Galina Marquez, and I have another cool story prepared for you today, so let's get to it. Hello everybody and welcome back to In the Art Scene podcast, and in this episode we are talking to Izzy Halpern from ArtReach. Did I say that correctly?
Isabel.
Oh, Isabel.
No, it's okay. It's this another variation of the name, but yeah, Isabel.
Isabel, I'm so sorry. Isabel Halpern from ArtReach San Diego. We had ArtReach on our platform before twice. We did, I think we did an article at the very beginning, and then we had Anna. We were talking about the guitar project, and Izzy is in charge of ArtReach Mural program, which is a really cool and fascinating thing. And I hope you will tell us how many schools in San Diego County you have already addressed and beautified, and what this program is about. I had a chance to volunteer once on one of the murals, and it's actually very interesting because in the process of designing the mural, I know that you are getting the students and the teachers involved, and those things. It's not just a beautiful thing on the wall. It actually means something for people who are connected with the school, the students, the teachers, and everything. So why wouldn't we start with you introducing yourself properly? Because I messed it up completely. I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. Sure. Yes. So my name is Isabel Halpern, and but mostly everyone calls me Izzy. And I am the mural program manager for ArtReach, and I've been working with ArtReach since 2015. And I started as a teaching artist, and then sort of transitioned into doing murals at schools, and now just all I do with ArtReach is murals. So that's little bit of history.
So when you were a teaching artist, what is your medium and how did you start? What kind of classes you had?
Yeah, so I've I guess been an artist my whole life. I have a studio art major from college, so I did a lot of art at my university, and during college, I was actually exploring a lot of sculpture and some large paintings and drawings. And so after college, when I was, kind of exploring career paths, it kind of made sense for me to look into teaching because it felt like a way to still connect with art and art making and creativity, but do it with kids. And I've always liked working with kids. So that's how I got involved with ArtReach. And so I started as a teaching artist with ArtReach, kind of going to all different schools all around San Diego and teaching collage, sculpture, clay, watercolor, kind of a wide variety of media to kids. Yeah.
Cool. And how did you pick up the mural program?
So I've always had an interest in murals. I made a few at my college, living residence, and made a few for friends. And it just has always been something in the back of my head that I've been interested in and wanted to try and explore. And when opportunity came up, I think, in 2015 or 2016 at a school called Fulton Elementary, which was to do an after school club with students and to create a site specific mural. And we had never done this before. I had never done this before, but we kind of just tried it at Fulton Elementary. I think we had 10 students. We met after school and painted this little wall. And looking back on it now, it's pretty funny to look at it because we've learned so much since then. But it kind of started with one after school club. And I kind of approached Sarah, the executive director of ArtReach, kind of like saying like, oh, I kind of want to try this with a group of kids. And she was very supportive of that. So after that first one at Fulton, we got to do another one. And like each one, we just learned more. Over the summer of 2018, I had the opportunity to participate in a summer internship with Mural Arts Philadelphia.
Mm-hmm.
So I got to live in Philadelphia for 3 months out of the summer and work on public art projects. And I learned a lot from that summer. So after 2018 of that summer, I brought a lot back what I learned from them and kind of started to figure out more of a process for our program.
That sounds really cool. So whose design was that for the first one that you did?
It was mine, yeah.
It's yours?
It was just like this funny fish. And
do you still have pictures of it?
I do, yeah.
Yeah, I want to post it on the website.
Okay, well, if you post that one, you have to show what we do now, because
absolutely, yes,
you can really see like a difference. Yeah, we were like using not the right kind of paint on paper plates. We were using paint pens. Like we all were just learning. It was the first one. It turned out okay. It's kind of cute.
Yeah, but, the one that I participated at, that was a whole deal. Like the scaffolds and buckets of paint from Home Depot and huge brushes and there's like a whole system. If you're doing this is this is where you put the brush so it doesn't dry.
Yeah, we definitely have a full process and system now.
Yeah, and there's so many people are participating. I think that time when I was on site, we
had like 20, we had like 10, 15 people that day working with us. I mean, that was a 2-wall, large scale work, and it required like 20 people helping us finish it. Definitely. Yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing. And you're now working with different artists. It's not all your designs that now you're collaborating.
It kind of started out with just me, like one project at a time. But then, as we started to get a lot more interest from schools wanting school beautification and students to collaborate on something for their school, I thought it would be really important that we start working with different artists and let kids meet different artists and like expand our portfolio, like have different styles, So at this point now we have, about 6 or 7 mural artist partners who we contract with to come lead a mural design and paint the whole thing and work with the kids. And it's a great way to connect with different artists in the community and to give artists really cool job opportunities. Like they get to basically have a wall and a group of kids and work with them start to finish and kind of, come up with something super unique. And the great thing about ArtReach is we provide all of the materials and logistical coordination. So I think a lot of artists really enjoy that part about working with us.
Well, yeah. When you
it makes it appealing, they just kind of, get to do the fun parts, like design with the kids, design the wall, show up, paint. It's a lot of work though, for sure. But it's been really, really neat to expand and now have different artists working with us.
So ArtReach is all about bringing art programs to schools that are cutting them down from their budget. So the Title I schools in San Diego County. I know you have a number of teaching artists who are creating programs, bringing it to schools. Mural is obviously it's an art activity, but is it like an extracurricular activity for schools, or is it included in their program?
Yeah, it's different for all schools. Sometimes it's like an extracurricular elective club for schools, but other times it's like the whole 5th grade class is doing a legacy piece. And every 5th grader, for example, will participate in pre-painting workshops, design ideas, and that actual physical painting. and then a culminating ribbon cutting event. So it just kind of depends on what schools are looking for. Some are looking for after school clubs. And so that's when we'll do a mural club with just 15 students. And other schools are looking for a whole grade to participate. And so, yeah, it can be one or the other.
Well, I have a couple of questions from here, and one that I'm really interested in. And at the last interview with Anna, she kind of touched a little bit on that, and I was really fascinated because the way you and the artist, the mural artist, starts the whole project, designing the mural together with students, is something really, really interesting. So if you can talk a little bit about that, how students are getting involved into the design idea, the imagery, and all of that, and what it means, because obviously it means a lot to them, but how does it affect children to know that they are a part of this creation, and creation is going to stay on the wall for years to come?
Yeah. We never know what a wall will look like before we we'll never we never know what a mural will look like before we we have to talk to the students first. We have to work with them first. We never know what a design will look like until we talk to the students and the staff. And so that's why it makes it really special, is because we really are here to listen and find out from each unique school or community site. We don't just do schools. We also work at community centers. What represents them? What are their values? What are they trying to communicate? Large scale? What are they trying to represent or, show to people who are going to see it? A mural can really be, a symbol or show representation. Show visibility. So we collect design input in a lot of different ways from students and staff. It can be just doing group brainstorms and talking and kind of writing down a bunch of things by asking specific questions. We do a lot of drawing activities. So kids any age can draw what they see on the wall. We'll give students like a little scaled down version of the actual wall has been decided. So they'll get to draw drawings on the actual wall space. We talk about composition and architectural elements. Sometimes we've even done like collage workshops where students will make things with paper and shapes, and then we'll take, some of those exact pieces and lay them out, in a design. So, and we're still like figuring out new ways to collect their ideas and their actual artwork and try and translate that on the wall. But our program does have a lead artist that looks at everything and makes one cohesive design. So while it is student art and inspired by student art, it's still very much led by one artist. So it kind of does have the same hand behind it for, professional cohesive look.
Can you talk a little bit about some examples that stood out to you, like what students want to represent on the wall?
It all depends on the site and the location. Like we had a big wall that was situated in a garden. So of course, a lot of the students are going to draw bugs and plants and fruit that they're trying to grow. There can be more like general themes where schools are trying to show acceptance, kindness, community, kind of like some bigger words that we then have to try and find symbolic imagery for. A lot of schools want their school mascot, of course. That's a big source of pride. So sometimes we incorporate a school mascot in a scene. Not always, but sometimes. So it just really depends on the location, because the location really dictates kind of what kind of imagery, if it's street facing or if it's within a campus. One school had a chicken program where they like take care of, they take care of chickens, and they kind of they wanted that represented. So we added a little chicken in the mural, for example.
That's fun.
Or one school was by like a big canyon, and they wanted a lot of of those canyon plants showed. So that was something we were able to incorporate.
That's really fun. So is it always like one mural project per school, or have you done do you have returning customers?
Yeah, it's funny. It's mostly been one project per school, but in the past half a year, a few schools have been like, hey, we want you to come back and add something on the front of our school now, if we worked on the interior. Or if we did something on the front, schools are like, hey, we want you to come back and do something on the inside of our campus. So we do have a handful of schools, maybe 3 to 4, that do have 2 of our projects on campus. And then another really neat thing that's emerged is some of our schools that have our in-class program, which is where teaching artists go and teach art in the classroom. It's not our mural program, but our in-class program. A lot of schools with in-class programs are now interested in a mural. So then we'll do the mural. Or schools that have started with a mural are like, oh, we want to have art classes now. So then I'll connect them with Brooke, our in-class program manager, and she'll work to get them an in-class program. So we've started to see a really cool exchange of kind of different art programs happening.
That's really awesome, and that's basically what you aim at ArtReach to do, to bring as much art to schools that don't have any access to it as possible. Okay, so I remember that one single time that I volunteered on the mural. It was on the weekend, and all the volunteers were adults.
Yeah.
But I know that students are actually involved in the actual work on the wall. So after they participate in the design, they do get to paint the wall. So I do anticipate that there are some restrictions to that, because you probably will not allow them to climb on the scaffold, and there are a lot of moving parts involved in that. But how do they actually get to participate? At what point during the school days, or at certain parts, or only on the lower part of the wall? Or how do they get involved? Because I bet that if I were a student at the school and I just submitted my drawings for the wall and then waited for a couple of weeks for the mural to get done, it's like, yeah, it was cool, but I kind of didn't touch the wall at all. So it would be more exciting for me to be outside, get my clothes dirty and paint.
Yeah.
And I did that. So
yeah. The students will participate by painting the full lower half of a mural. And they either are rotated out of class time to paint with us in small groups. We can't have 20 students at once. We work with max 15 at a time. Or if it's a after school club, then they're working every day with us for an hour. Every Wednesday it's the mural club, and we're coming back to continue our mural. Or every Tuesday and Thursday, it depends on what the school schedule is. But and then so they're working on painting the whole, as much as possible, until there's no more room. That's when our team will come in and finish the top half, because exactly like you said, we can't have students on scaffolding or tall ladders. Students, we can have them on step stools, 2-step stools, so they can, some of the taller students, high schoolers, they can reach pretty high with that. But there is a point where their participation is done, And our team comes in and finishes the top half, does some like very fine tuning detailing, cleaning up lines, outlining, different things like that. But the good thing about our program is they don't just paint and then they never see us again. We come back together and have a culminating event where we do a ribbon cutting, have student speakers. The whole school comes together to really acknowledge the new collaborative contribution to their campus. So we really try and make it full circle, and we try and reflect on how it went, or if you were going to design a mural, what would you do? Sometimes we make coloring sheets for the younger students who are like in kindergarten. They just saw like this brand new thing emerge on their school, and for them to connect with it, we'll give them a coloring sheet of the mural, just outlines, and say like, how would you paint this? So we really try and find ways to connect beyond just the painting. And I'm even trying to think and work on resources in which teachers can even do lessons with their students after a mural or things like that. So it's always evolving and changing and expanding.
What was the best, in your opinion, the best feedback by far that you have received from students and staff after completing the mural project?
I think just when students like feel really proud of what they've done, that feels really good to hear. I think also some really good feedback is like when students get to connect to each other, especially like after a lot of isolation in the past few years with COVID, like for them to get to do something together in person outside that's not on a screen. Just getting to see them like laugh and have fun and joke around and be outside, be present with each other, get really focused on what they're doing. I also really like when I hear from students that it's a really like relaxing and meditative experience too. And then of course, from staff, it's great to hear feedback on like how much it's transformed the space and has contributed to like full, just how it feels on campus to have like big art pieces around, and how that, instills a seriousness and care, for students. Like if they're able to be surrounded by art, there's care that they care for their students, if their campus is beautiful, they're invested in. So yeah, hearing different things like that has been really inspiring and exciting.
That's pretty cool. And I kind of, looking down in the future, I can imagine some of those students growing up and having their own children, bringing them to the same school and say, hey, your mom or your dad just painted this wall. Isn't that cool? And now you get to go to the school.
Yeah, I mean, that's already happened. Like,
really?
One of, she's actually here right now, but our mural artist apprentice, Chloe, like she's a junior in high school right now. And she worked on one of our first murals in 2019 as I think a 7th grader or an 8th grader. And she came back to us like 3 years later, like, I still remember this. And it would be like, do you have any work opportunities or, volunteer opportunities? And now she's working with us on all of our work. So yeah, we're already kind of starting to see that happen. There's some younger kids at this last mural we did in Lemon Grove who were like, I want to work with you when I'm older. And I even gave her like our RAC card, and I showed her my email. I said, when you get into high school, email me. So just, who knows if that will happen, but if kids can see themselves working in a creative field or kind of wanting to see this as a possibility, then that's already like a good thing that's achieved.
Yeah, and giving back to the community as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Let's take a short coffee break. Producing this podcast sure takes a lot of energy. Would you buy me a coffee so I can continue doing it? I would really appreciate it. The link is in the show notes and on our website, intheartscene.com. Thanks for supporting our show. My next question was actually about COVID, and you touched a little bit about on that. So I know that you had to kind of shut down Mural program for at least part of the pandemic because for the obvious reasons.
Yeah.
But I know that you have been able to figure out the safe way of resuming it, and yeah, having some projects done during the pandemic and. I think after the major lockdown, but can you talk a little bit about that? How, like, what did it mean for the Mural program to shut down, and then how did you figure out the way of getting back to it, and how did you get to again get the students and staff involved? Given that the processes needed to be adjusted and.
Yeah. Definitely. I mean, as for everyone, COVID just like, yeah, all of a sudden we're like, we can't do anything in schools. And we didn't know when we'd be able to work in schools again. And that was our primary work and audience. So yeah, everything paused and our whole team just had to get together and figure out how to pivot. And so we were doing a lot of art videos for students, like to have art lessons paired with art kits. So we give all the students individual art kits so they have the materials, and then they're doing the lessons with us that are pre-recorded. And that's more like of our residency side to things, but I was very much involved with that. I was doing videos, like, we were just trying to do what was needed. And that's what was needed. Murals weren't needed at that time, so I was making art videos from my bedroom and instructing kids, like, yeah, filming on my iPhone and learning iMovie and all of these things. But then with the art kits, we realized we could make mural kits. And we did what we called a distance mural, where we had a group of students, for example, at Pacific View Leadership Elementary. They were going to complete a mural March 13th, 2020. And like they were going to start their mural March 13th, 2020. Obviously, that didn't happen. So that same mural group, like, we don't want to leave them behind. So we kind of made this distance mural thing, which was giving them each a square, giving them all paint. And we worked with Hannah Gundrum, who was the artist for that project. And they each painted a square over Zoom. We like dropped off these squares at their houses, their actual houses, knocking on doors. And they painted the squares over some Zoom classes, and then we collected all of the squares and we put it back together. So in that sense, kids were able to create a little mural from home. And we were able to gather super distanced for that and do like a tiny ribbon cutting, because we installed that tiny little distance mural called "You Are Made of Magic" in front of their campus. But, and that was still like super depths of COVID and really at the beginning. But little by little, we figured out ways to do murals with student contribution. So students were still in distance learning. So they still weren't on campus, but we were able to work with them on Zoom to collect ideas. And then our team would just paint it. So that was one way that we pivoted, is we just didn't have them, unfortunately, paint with us, but we focused on more of like a welcome back theme. Like, we're going to help beautify their campus for the moment they can come back to school. They're going to come back to art. And we still involve them on Zoom in the design part, but they couldn't come to campus to paint because they weren't allowed on campus. So for a few months, it was just adults on our team painting murals at school campuses. But once students were allowed back on campus, we just emphasized how it was, a relatively safe thing to do, because we're outside and we're masked and we're really mindful about spacing. And so, school administrators were totally on board with getting their students outside and getting them to connect with each other and to be off screens. So we were able to kind of slide into a pocket of safe school activities by emphasizing we're working outside, we're masking, we are spacing, we don't share paintbrushes, we sanitize our materials between student groups, and it was totally fine. So we were able to kind of be in that pocket for a while. Yeah.
So how many mural projects did you complete during COVID?
During COVID, I guess, like, what's defined as that?
Well, okay.
Like,
so
from 2020 to now?
Yeah, from 2020 to now.
17. Yeah. And I would say maybe 3 of those were they were not schools. So one was at a residential space. One was at one was a public mural.
Mm-hmm.
One was at a veterans housing, and one was at a women's shelter. So there were 4 that were not schools, but 17 since COVID.
It's approximately, so let's say from March 2020, and now it's we're recording on March 4th, 2022. So it's been
almost
2 years. 2 years, 24 months, 17 murals. It's like a little bit less than 1 mural a month.
Yeah, we've been pretty much like every month there's 1 or 2 projects.
That's a lot. That's really a lot. Yeah. How are you getting so many volunteers involved?
We have people write us all the time wanting to paint. And so I kind of just email everyone who's filled out our volunteer form and who I've done a little interview with. And I just kind of write some people a few days before we need help, and then see who can turn up. So, sometimes it's really helpful to have a lot of people. Like that day that you came, we had like 20 people there, and that helped us finish it. So, we just kind of see who can help out at the end of a project.
It was a hot day.
It was really hot. Yeah, that was intense.
Yeah, but that's a lot of fun. I can testify. I really had a lot of fun.
You were great. You were really fast, and I can say, like, fast painters are really helpful.
Thank you. I'm really sorry that I didn't have a chance to participate in any other one, but I will. I promise.
Of course, it'll always be there. Yeah.
Well, I mean, if you're painting, almost a mural a month, there will be no shortage of.
There will be future volunteer opportunities, 100%.
Awesome. So a couple of questions about the evolution of the program and how you see the future. Obviously, you started with one. It was kind of a test run. Then you learn how to do things. Now you have a process. You have no shortage of requests from schools and public places and everything. Do you see any other like a future evolution of what it can become? Beyond like a school murals, and any ideas where you want to take it forward?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's been great working with a lot of different artists. I think a next natural step would be to have more than one program manager. So there's maybe 3, well, like in an ideal world, there's maybe 2 people or 3 people who have like their projects that they're managing. And in that case, if there's 3 people who like have, you know, their projects happening, then that's more that are happening.
So you can do them simultaneously at the same time in different locations.
Yeah.
What will happen when you run out of walls in San Diego County?
We won't. I mean, there's so many schools. I like, that's not the issue. It's more just like having people and just having more people doing it, you know, to help fill the need. But that's the last thing I'm worried about is like wall spaces.
And you also mentioned that you are branching out a little bit to the public places, the community centers, the veteran organizations, women's shelters. How did that come about? Because I know that ArtReach main focus is schools and students. So how did that other part come about?
Yeah. So while our main focus is schools, ArtReach has always had community partners. And so community partners have youth, they have, you know, teens, or they have families. And so that's a built-in group of people that could come up with a mural design and paint it in. So we figured that our mural program can totally transfer to community organizations, because a lot of community organizations have a center, which, you know, has an inside or outside wall, and they have a group of people. So we partnered with our first like community mural with SCARE, Southern California American Indian Resource Center. And it's a group that works with people of the indigenous culture here in San Diego. And it was teens and families. And that was our first community partner. We made this wonderful project in their garden that really like brought everybody together. And so since that, we were like, oh yeah, we can totally have this be with not just schools. There's definitely a place for that. And that's definitely something that I see in our future just continuing to happen. We had our first like big public mural back in, I think, August, which is right in North Park in Hillcrest, like on Park and University, which is a really big intersection. And that was really exciting. We've never done that before. So different opportunities like that will always be excited about and explore, because that will just lead to more school programs and more funding. We had a lot of people reach out from that mural about wanting to get their kids involved or wanting to get our program at their school. So yeah, I definitely see us like really still working with community partners as well as schools.
That's awesome. And you have the same kind of a process. So you get community partner members involved in the design.
Yeah, it's the same process with a community organization.
That's really cool. So how can organizations and schools reach out to you if they're interested?
Well, they usually email me. So my email is on our website. Under our mural program page is Izzy at ArtReach San Diego. But a lot of times people hear about us word of mouth, or like in a district, for example, like a school district, one school will get an ArtReach mural, and then there'll be a little bit of a buzz, and other schools will find out and they'll say, oh, we want this for our school too. So it kind of spreads in a district like that. But sometimes people just like Google search like mural education programs or mural school programs, and then they, you know, email us because they find out about some of the work we do. But yeah,
All
the
right.
first thing to do would be to email me.
And I'll make sure to include all the contact information in the adjacent
Yeah,
blog post, along
great.
with the photos of the murals that you guys have done.
Yeah, our completed mural page is updated to just the most recent one we completed last week. So that's the best page to look at to see like a portfolio of work.
Awesome. Awesome. All right. And how do you find mural artists? If the community is interested in getting the mural done, they can email you and you will go from there, creating a project, connecting them with a mural artist. So if you have a need for the mural artist, or there's an artist who is interested in doing some sort of a community program, or just doing a mural because that's what they do.
Yeah.
How do you connect with them? How do you vet them? How do you make your choices? Who you're going to work with, who not? How to connect them with a project? And
yeah, I mean, we have like 5 to 6 artists who we've worked with now on multiple projects. So any of our current mural artist partners, they're the first people that I look to when a new project comes up. It's all about who's available. It's about their aesthetic style, and like, we have some artists who connect more with teens and who maybe have more of a mature subject matter, who can kind of make, do something that would be better for older students. We have artists who might be better with younger students. So yeah, it's based on availability and just like trying to make a good match between an artist and a site. And then in terms of finding new artists, I'm always on the lookout for like muralists in San Diego. And if I find someone whose aesthetic style that I think could translate to schools, a school mural is pretty specific in a way. It has to be colorful, joyful, fun, welcoming, positive, and so we have to make sure we find artists who can work within something that's school appropriate or community appropriate. And so, yeah, if I see someone on Instagram, I'm like, oh, I could see that at a school 100%, then I'll kind of keep them in the back of my head, maybe reach out. We have a lot of artists who reach out to us too. Our program is one at a time. So it's not like we are having 3 or 4 projects happen at once. So, we work yet. Yes. Yeah, we work with one artist at a time for the most part. Maybe, one's kind of starting as one is ending, but yeah, it's just about trying to find a good match.
All right. So for all the mural artists or artists who want to do murals in their future in San Diego.
Murals with kids. That's a big thing.
Kids,
you have to want to have an interest in working with youth.
Yeah.
That's
so
the forefront.
Stay tuned. As soon as ArtReach gets more project managers, there will be much more opportunities for murals. That's awesome. Well, Izzy, thank you so much. Thank you so much for doing this interview with me.
Yeah, thank you so much for organizing this and for, sharing more information about our program. It's really helpful and awesome, and we're really appreciative of your work and time.
Well, thank you for saying that. I'm a big fan of ArtReach from the very first project I have done with you with those guitars.
Yeah.
And yeah, how sometimes, like, even if you're not directly involved in the organization, you put your heart in it. And that, to me, it feels important to have you guys always at the top of my mind, and whatever is going on, highlight whatever you do, because you do an amazing work in our community. And
thank you.
I'm at awe always. And having such a small team making such a big impact, it's really amazing what you do. So thank you for that. Thank you for that. And thank you for your time. And
yeah, we're excited to hear it come out.
Yeah, it will be probably, I would say we go on air with this episode on the second week of May.
Cool. Great.
So
yeah, I'll just stay tuned, and it's been awesome to talk.
Well, speaking of which, that will be, so you're having your annual fundraiser in April. So, but if you want to right now plug in some things that are happening like second half of May and beyond, to let people know what to expect or how to participate, you have a great opportunity to do it right now.
We will have another art auction, but like the details aren't really like set in stone yet. So I guess no plugs for now.
Okay, so we will do it this way then. We will wait until the episode is just about to air, and we will put everything in the blog post, because by then I think you will have finalized all the details.
And I can get that for Anna for the blog, from Anna for the blog post. But yeah,
awesome.
Cool.
So yes, everybody, if you're listening to this, even though there's something brewing that we cannot talk about right now, most likely there's already an information on ArtReach website, and we have a link to it on our blog post that comes along with this episode. So go check it out, apply. That's always something fabulous.
Definitely. And also, like, the best way to stay up to date with our murals, if you're really interested in like our mural program specifically, is just like social media, our Instagram. We are always updating on all of our current murals and past murals. So that's like the best way.
That will be included in the blog post as well. And obviously I'll be tagging you on Instagram as well.
Cool.
Awesome. Oh, cool. Awesome. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you. Yeah, that was great. Got me to think about some things.
Okay. All right.
Appreciate your time and everything.
I appreciate your time, and I definitely look forward to seeing what you guys coming up with next. And I will see you again in the art scene. It has been another episode of In the Art Scene podcast. If you liked today's conversation, please give us a good review on Apple and go listen to other great stories. Check out our website intheartscene.com or follow us on Instagram at intheartscene for more content. If you are a creative and you want to share your story, shoot us a message from the website or DM us on Instagram. Look forward to seeing you next time in the art scene.